How about you, Pam?
Well, good evening, everyone. It is Monday, December the 12th. The time is 7 p.m. I'd like to welcome all councillors with the exception of our Deputy Mayor, Jeff Spencer, and a special welcome to our new councillor, Tyler Doucette. Welcome, Tyler. Hope you enjoy your first meeting. Welcome as well to our CAO, Jeff Baker, Deputy Administrator, Wendy McKinnon, and our Municipal Clerk, Kim Caisley. And before we start, I want to acknowledge that the land upon which we gather is the unceded Mi'kmaq territory and is covered by the historic treaties of peace and friendship. We pay our respects to the indigenous Mi'kmaq people who have occupied this island for over 12,000 years, past, present, and future. Council, the agenda is before you, but I want to add there was a new item sent out this afternoon, 8.1.5, I believe it is. So we'll add that to the agenda. If there's nothing else, I would entertain a motion to adopt the agenda with that addition. So moved by Councillor McCrae, seconded by Councillor Gallant. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. Declaration of conflict of interest. Are there any declarations of conflict of interest on any of the items that we have coming before us tonight? Councillor Doucette.
The U7 ice time donation request, I coach that age group, so I'll have to step out during that.
All right, thank you. We'll try to remember that at the time. Councillor Mann.
No, thank you, Your Worship. I'm also going to declare on 8.1.3 and in correspondence on the Bedford Hockey Exchange.
Okay. If I forget, you can remind me. So you're 8.1.3, and Tyler, you're same one. Okay. Or Councillor Doucette, I should say. Thank you. Okay. We should be able to remember that. Then there's no delegations or speakers tonight, so we'll move right into the minutes of the November the 14th meeting. Those minutes are before you. Are there any errors or omissions in the minutes of November the 14th? Before I hear from you, I forgot to welcome all those who are watching online, so all those who are watching at home, welcome, and you'll find our agenda and our package, our agenda package, on our website if you want to follow along. So, Council, any errors or omissions in the minutes of November the 14th? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adopt the minutes as circulated. So moved by Councillor Toombs, seconded by Councillor Gallant. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. All right, business arising out of the minutes of November the 14th. Any business? Councillor Gallant.
Thank you, Your Worship. But just wondering on the letter that we spoke about sending to the province and the Christmas decorations for the post office or the provincial building in the corner, if there was any luck with that. And
Actually, I spoke to them at the post office to find out if they looked after it, and they said no, it was the province. And then I must admit I forgot about it after that. Did you think of it again? All right. The answer with that would be no. But we will try to get that looked after for next year. Because I think at one time the tree that used to be there, I believe was the Lions Club used to put it there for their fundraising tree. What's it called? Not the Tree of Hope. That's the light bulbs. Pardon me? With the light bulbs. Yeah. But anyway, the Lions Club used to put the tree there. I don't know if that was ever the province or if it was a Lions Club. Councillor Gallant.
well, the province used to decorate, or the federal government used to decorate it before the province bought the building, and then the province did decorate for a bit. There actually was a tree there that was that they had to cut down at one time, and they used to decorate that.
Oh, right.
So once it came down, they never decorated afterwards. And I was told by a good source from the province that there's been plugs put in the building so they could decorate outside as of last year. So anyway, it might be something we could certainly look on.
We'll reach out and get that looked after. I got as far as talking to them at the post office and then forgot to carry it to the next step. So my apologies for that, and we will follow up and try to make sure that gets, probably too late to get it done this year, but we'll try to get it looked after for next year. Sorry about that, Council. Anything else, business arising out of the minutes? Hearing none, we'll move right along then to reports. The first report is the Chief Administrative Officer's report. That report is before you. Are there any questions on the Chief Administrative Officer's report? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adopt the report for November the 22nd, or 2022. So moved by Councillor Toombs, seconded by Councillor McCrae. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. Moving on right along to the Fire Department Statistical Report. That report is before you. Any questions on the report? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adopt the report as presented. Moved by Councillor McCrae, seconded by Councillor Toombs. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. Next report is the Police Department Statistical Report. That report is before you. Any questions on the report? Councillor Glenn.
Thank you. I don't have any questions on the report, but I'm just, I spoke to the police chief the other day because him and I were in conversation about something else, so I just mentioned it because it came up during the municipal election, actually, at some of the doors I attended regarding the speed limits around town. And I think I spoke to you, Your Worship, on one of them as well, was Brookins Drive, and then I had a couple of other ones down on, speak to me about it on
Barrett Drive.
Barrett Street, as well as Pleasant Street, the lower part of Pleasant Street. So I was talking to the chief the other day, and we're just about something else, as I said earlier, and so it came up, and I was just wondering, would council be, or could we talk to the province, or maybe it's our decision to look at possibly in some of those streets, even there is speed signs up, even reducing the speed to 25 from 40, and that might help some. I know 25 seems slow, but I know I went up to Brookins Drive myself and took a drive up there, and when you're going up there at 40, it does seem kind of fast in that street for some reason, but you cut it down to 25 and it seems a little more reasonable. So I'm wondering what council's thoughts would be on that.
I can say that we have requested from the province, I don't know how many times now, but I know the latest one was to Minister Deagle in a letter to him in September, I believe it was, September or October, I'm not sure exactly the date, requested that his department take a look at reducing the speed limit from 50 to 40. Haven't heard anything back on that. We've talked to the Department of Transportation in the province more than once on this particular issue. We haven't had any uptake on it at all yet. They haven't said no, but they haven't said yes. They just haven't addressed it. We can do some more follow-up on that. I don't know. Do we want to even go down, see if they'll go down as low? You're talking about probably the side streets, not the main roads, because what we've requested is all the streets in town, including the provincial highways, be reduced from 50 to 40. So maybe what we can do is talk to them about, continue to talk to them about, try to get the main streets reduced from 50 to 40, and then see if they can do the other ones too. Well, the other ones are already 40. We did that before they were turned over to the province. Yes, Councillor Gland.
So, like Brookins Drive, for an example, has a 40
Yes.
speed limit sign on it. So that was the town that did it, or the province that did it?
The town did that many years ago when we owned the streets, and so they've been 40 when the province took them over. So they've never increased them, and we haven't increased them. So as far as we're concerned, they're still 40. I'm correct on that, Mr. Baker. Yeah. Yes, Mr. Councillor.
So is it our responsibility to reduce them to 25, or would we have to request it from them?
At the time when we reduced them from 50 to 40, we owned the streets, but we've since turned those streets over to the province. So now they would have to approve it. And I'm correct on that, Mr. Baker? Yeah. We have to lobby them to get them to do it. So we can try to do that if that's the wish of council, that we try to get the side streets from 40 to 25 or 30 or something less, and continue to try to get them to reduce the main provincial highways from 50 to 40. That's been what we've been trying to do. Yes, Councillor Glant.
Okay, thank you. I personally feel like, say, I'll use Brookins Drive as a prime example,
Yeah.
and Linwood Drive maybe, and even Pleasant Street where it says 40. Like those side streets, I think 25 to me is, you go down those streets at 25, and again, I use Brookins as an example. You drive up there at 25, and there's, you know, there's a lot of people walking on that street. There always seems to be somebody out walking, and so on and so forth. I think 25 in those side streets would be fine if everyone else would, you know, give their thoughts on that. It'd be great, and then we could request them to come down to that as well.
Well, Council, any feedback? What's your thoughts on the request of Councillor Glant, that we see if the province would consider reducing the speed? The one thing about speed limits is, speed limit's 25. Well, you know, if you're going 30, they're probably not going to give you a ticket. I'm not sure how far over you have to be, but you probably have to be at least 10. And so 25 is actually, you're probably 35 before you'd be potentially stopped. What's the wish of council? Do you want us to try and lobby for? I presume we're going to continue to lobby, try to get the 50s down to 40. Do you want us to also lobby to go from 40 down to 25 or 30, whatever we can? What's the wish of council? Any other feedback other than Councillor Glant? Councillor Doucette.
Yes, Your Worship. I would agree to that for sure. I think in fact, he mentioned Pleasant Street. Growing up on Pleasant Street, I found even having, I think it was 50 back when I was living around that area,
yeah.
And I thought the speeds were even much above that. So if you can drop it down and then at least even get them to 30, I think that's a great idea.
All right. Anybody have any opposed to us lobbying on that part? All right, we'll put that on our list of continue to lobby, and it's one more thing on the list. Thank you, Councillor Glant. Anything else on the policing side of things? The police report still before you. Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adopt the police report as presented. So moved by Councillor Glant, seconded by Councillor Doucette. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. All right, we'll move along to the development permit summary report. That report is before you. Any questions on the report? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adopt the report as presented. So moved by Councillor Toombs, seconded by Councillor Doucette. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. All right, we are now into the bills for the town. Those bills are before you. Are there any questions on any of the bills that are before you? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion, first of all, to have approved the bills for the town in the amount of $210,746.09. So moved by Councillor Mann, seconded by Councillor McCrae. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. And additionally, we have capital expenditure bills in the amount of $26,755.59. So moved by Councillor Mann, seconded by Councillor Toombs. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. Next is the bills for the water and sewer utility. Those bills are before you. Any questions on the bills? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adopt and pay the bills in the amount of $25,301.44. So moved by Councillor Mann, seconded by Councillor Doucette. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. All right, we're now into the summary income statement. That report is before you. Are there any questions on the summary income statement, Council? All right, there's no questions. I would entertain a motion to adopt the summary income statement to the end of October 2022. So moved by Councillor Mann, seconded by Councillor Toombs. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. Next report before you is the Credit Union Center report. Any questions on the Credit Union Center report, Council? Hearing Councillor McCray.
I just have a question, thanks to your worship. When are we going to try and get the ice on the outdoor rink? Are they going to try and
It'll
get
be-
it set up?
I think it's all dependent on cold weather, when they
Cold
get
weather.
enough cold weather. And we may be starting to get cold enough now, but it has to have an extended period of time, so they will, that's usually the way they do it, isn't it, Mr. Baker? As soon as it's cold enough, as soon as the weather looks forecast to be cold and staying cold, but if it's forecast to be getting mild again, they won't bother putting it in.
And on the lighting, last year, we were looking at maybe putting more lighting around outside.
Yeah,
Are we still going to look into that and see if we can do anything with that? It's pretty
I-
dark in there at times.
Mr. Baker, we were gonna do something, I'm not sure where that stands, do you know?
I don't, I'll check
Well-
with Robert and see where we
Yeah, we were going to do something like that. I know there's some discussions on it, so I'm not sure where it stands, but we'll see if we can get something like that looked after before the ice goes in, if at all possible.
Okay.
It's probably going to be tied in with Maritime Electric, so it may be held up because of their schedules, but anyway, we'll see what we can do.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Doucette?
Thank you, Worship. Just a question on the, when you go to install that outdoor rink, do they plan to just kind of create the ice over that paved surface, or was there a tarp purchase for that or anything, or is it
No, it's over the paved surface.
over the paved?
And there was, when it was put in, there was a raised curb around the outside edge to try and hold the water in. So that's the plan. This will be the first year that they've done it, so because before we always did it they put something around to try to hold it in on the cement. So now we've got a paved surface with a berm on the side, so hopefully it'll be a little easier this time.
Yeah.
But it is-
My only fear there, with the black pavement on the sunny days, you'll have some trouble keeping the ice, but it might be an idea even to have that either painted or look at a tarp that could be used and reused or whatnot, but just an idea.
Yeah, that's food for thought. All right, thank you, Councillor Doucette. I know one of the things that some outdoor rink users use, they buy the big silage tarps that are 150 by 200 or 150 by 100 or whatever, and they lay them down. They like the ones that are white, so it's heavier plastic. Anything else, Council, on the Credit Union Center report? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adopt the report to the end of October. So moved by Councillor McCray, seconded by Councillor Doucette. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. Next is the Mayor's report. That report is before you. I don't think it's fair. Everything is fairly straightforward. The one thing that obviously is changing is the torch relay is not going to be tomorrow anymore. It is now postponed to Monday, the 19th, same time. Everything is, hopefully there's no storms for Monday coming up. Any questions on the report, Council? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adopt the report as presented. So moved by Councillor Toombs, seconded by Councillor McCray. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. All right, Councillor Mann, Federation of Prince Edward Island Municipalities. Do you have anything to report?
Probably should, but I wasn't absent from the last meeting, so unless Councilor Blatt has to go.
All right. Oh, yeah, you had
I want to say no update.
nothing to report. Okay, thank you. Councillor McCray, what about the Kensington Area Chamber of Commerce? Anything to report?
I was unable to attend also, so no report.
All right, thank you. And we don't have anything to report on the Heart of Prince Edward Island, Heart of PEI Committee at this stage anyway. All right, we'll move right along to new business. How about request for decision number 42? That information is before you, Council. Any questions on the information before you on request for decision, which is the purchase of laptops for all of your use? We already have one, so we hope you approve it, because we figured we better get one for our new councillor, so he didn't feel neglected. So We do anticipate having a positive vote for you, Councillor Doucette. No questions? In that case, who would like to read into the record? How would, Councillor Doucette, how would you like to read into the record? Be your first motion into the record. It's on the bottom of the request for decision. We'll call this training.
Absolutely, yes, I need this. So, be it resolved that Town Council authorize the CAO to award a contract for the replacement of 6 laptop computers to Combat Computers as per their amended quote dated October 20th, 2022 in the amount not to exceed $7,133.94 plus HST and ACES.
Thank you very much. Seconded by Councillor Toombs. All those in favor? Are you in favor, Councillor? Is that? Thank you. Motion carried unanimously. All right. We'll move right along to the borrowing resolution for number 43 for the Credit Union Center upgrades. That information is before you. Any questions on the borrowing resolution, Council? Councillor Gallant?
Thank you. I don't have any questions. I was just before we do that, I'm just curious, when it comes to work that has to be done, is everything that's in there specifically what we have to do, or can we add other stuff to it depending on money? You know, if I know what's in the what's in the report, but if we were to do some other things, and just give you an example, like say maybe put more lighting up around the parking lot, or the fencing around the old ice surface, which has now been repaved, is I guess pretty ugly. Is probably the word you would use. So I was wondering if some of this money from this can be used, if there's extra money left to do do stuff like that, maybe straighten that fence and not make it look a little better. We really don't need it that high either, and maybe put more street lights or lighting up around the whole parking lot to lighten it up and that sort of thing.
I'm going to turn that over to Mr. Baker to see if he can answer some of the. There's probably some flexibility. We're not sure how much. You know, Mr. Baker.
Well, not specifically, but I would suggest there would be some flexibility within the scope of the project. If there is slippage money left in the project, i.e. we didn't spend as much as what we had indicated we were going to spend, then we likely could move that to other smaller type projects within the whole project, as long as they qualify for funding under the funding program. So fence replacement, I would suggest yes. Additional safety lighting and whatnot in the parking area, I would suggest yes as well. But again, ultimately depends on how much money is left in the project. We could look at another project application at some point, or we could look at doing some of those things on our own as well if there was no funding left in the project.
I think one of the things we're kind of being pressured right now to get tenders out because they're looking for us to get moving on this project. So we do have limited ability, limited time, I guess, to go and add too much more to the project. Is that not correct, Mr. Baker?
Yeah, I mean, technically that is correct, but if we're going to repave the parking area, probably wouldn't be too difficult to add security lighting or safety lighting to that sort of thing, even maybe upgrades to the fence. We actually have a meeting at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning with WSP to take a look at drafting specific tender documents around. It's kind of a difficult project to tender because replacement of your boards, replacement of your ice plant, paving of your parking area are all very specific projects. And so not likely is a board replacement company going to take on repaving of a parking area. So we're looking at 3 to 4 different tenders to go out, but minor scope changes like that should be possible as we move through the project, given that there is funds left within the project.
And I think one of the things that we're wondering about when we first initially looked at this was back in 2019 was the first letter that I had written, I believe. I think it was 2019 or 20, something like that, a couple of years ago at least. And some of the costing that we had estimated at that point in time is altogether different now. Some could have gone up. Probably most of it's gone up. Maybe some things gone down. But I know the solar, we've at that point in time we had looked at putting a 100 kilowatt solar system on there because there were some limitations. We were told at that point in time that we couldn't go any more than 100. There may be some flexibility in that. We really need about 200 to 250 kilowatt system to cover a lot of our needs there. So if there's things that we can do and add more solar, it might even have payback. It might be worthy for the town to even take a look at going a little bit more and investing it because it might have its payback quick enough that you can afford to do it. Anyway, there's lots of things to be looked at right now, and those are some of the things that you're dealing with right now with WSP, I believe, is it? But we'll try and keep you folks informed of everything as we go along. But we can certainly take a look at that. Pretty well cover the items that you were thinking of, like the repairs to the fence. That would be maintenance more than anything else. I think, wasn't it? Are you talking about the fence around the old ice surface? Is that what you're referring to, Councillor Glant?
Yes, Your Worship, and if you just take you take a drive and look at it, and it's kind of ugly looking because it's been there. Actually, I put that fence up there probably back in the 80s.
Wow,
so it's
should
been
have
there
stayed
quite a while. Well, but that fence came from Summerside, and we put it up back those days, and it served its purpose, of course, at that time. But now it's just kind of getting, and with the cement around it, it's just not pretty. And I don't know if we really need it that high. We could probably cut it back just high enough, that maybe back to, I think it's about 10 or 12 feet high. So you could probably cut that back to about 6 feet or 8 feet at the most, probably. And just a thought, and I'm just chucking those ideas out there. If there was a possibility that we could add to the project, if depending on money, of course, and of course lighting around every parking lot. You go down there in the wintertime now when it's icy, and we got some lighting, but you can't get enough lighting, as far as I'm concerned, in the winter, especially when it's icy.
Yeah.
People are walking to and from their cars, and the more lighting there, as Councillor McCrae had mentioned a few minutes ago regarding lighting for the ice surface. Of course, if you have more lighting in the parking lot, it's going to brighten the whole area up, right? So.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll try to see what we can add to it and see what we can get done. Any other questions, Council? Hearing none, who wants to read into the record the borrowing resolution? Councillor Mann?
All right. Whereas Section 164 of the Municipal Government Act, RSPEI 1988, Cap M-12.1, authorizes the Town Council to borrow money for the completion of a capital project. And whereas Town Council intends to undertake and complete the Kensington Credit Union Center upgrades capital project over 2022 and 2023 valued at $2,032,077.19, with the federal government funding 40% of the project, the provincial government funding 33% of the project, and the town of Kensington funding 26.67% of the project. And whereas the amount to be borrowed will not cause the town to exceed its legislated debt capacity. Be it resolved that the town of Kensington be empowered to borrow up to $500,000 from the Scotiabank under the following terms. 1. Repayable in full by town council over an amortization period of up to 25 years. 2. At an interest rate as negotiated with the lender, with interest payable monthly. And 3. Advances repayable on demand.
Thank you, Councillor Mann. Do we have a seconder for that resolution? Seconded by Councillor Glant. Any discussion, Council? Hearing none, all those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. All right, we'll move right along to item number, request for decision number 44. And I think Councillor Mann and Councillor Doucette, you wish to declare a conflict of interest, so we'll allow you to retire and we'll call you back in a few minutes. right, council, the information is before you. Is there any questions? This is on the request for a decision on the ice time for the U7 Vipers donation request. We've done that every year and proposing we do it again. Any questions, council? Councillor Glad.
Thank you, Your Worship. I don't have a question, but I just have a comment, and it's kind of regarding this, and it means it's Councillor Doucette and Councillor Mann is left I'm just wondering on the conflict of interest. Like, I thought conflict of interest only is if you were going to actually benefit from it personally. Like, well, do we always have to have councillors leave when they're actually on a volunteer board, volunteer coaching, or volunteer minor hockey board? Would that be any different than if I'm volunteered for the 55+ games where we make motions for money? It's not, they're not personally gaining anything from it, and they're volunteering in the community. In my opinion, I don't know, maybe Jeff can answer that, what the policy is, but you wouldn't think they'd always have to leave the room because of that, because they're not actually directly gaining any benefit from it and stuff.
It's a fine line. I think we leave it to a councillor's discretion to some degree whether they wish to not be considered part of it. And it's, you know, it's, I hear what you're saying, and I think this one, there are times something like this, it kind of probably could fall either way. It depends on the perception of the public. And I think what those two councillors have excused themselves because they don't want to appear to the public to have been using their influence with the rest of council. So they want to can be completely clear that they are not influencing anyone else, and it's a clear decision. So it probably makes them feel more comfortable with their own boards as well, and their own people. Mr. Baker, do you have anything further to comment?
No, I think Councillor Glant will be right that by definition they may not necessarily be in a conflict of interest from the perspective that they don't derive any personal financial benefit from the decision that council would make. It is really upon a councillor to declare whether or not they are they feel they're in a conflict of interest. Unless they don't declare a conflict of interest and the remaining members of council do believe they were in a conflict, then there are some avenues for council to take with respect to that. I think that you're 100% correct that they just want to get rid of it, more of a bias than a conflict of interest maybe in the current situation, that they don't want to imply pressure on their fellow councillors to make a decision that benefits the group that they're representing.
All right. Councillor Glant?
Yeah, that's no problem. I understand that. I was just curious. I'm not questioning them leaving or anything like that.
Yeah.
I was just curious. I guess it kind of comes down to when we pass their monthly bills, like everybody around the table works at a place that we pay money to, so just kind of looking at it from that perspective, I guess.
Yeah.
So.
If you were making a motion to pay a particular bill, that may be perceived, but you know, it's a fine line. That's why we leave it to the councillor's discretion, and if a councillor doesn't declare it and the rest of the council feels that there is, well then that would be up to the rest of the council to speak up. But we'll leave it to the councillor's discretion to pick and choose and make the right decision, and make the decision that they feel most. It's really, the way I look at it, it's the decision that they feel most comfortable with, that they don't feel as though they created an undue bias, I guess, which might not be a conflict of interest, but so it kind of makes it clear, transparent. Any other questions, council? Hearing none, who would like to read into the record the resolution? Go ahead, Councillor McRae.
Be it resolved that the ice time rental donation requested for the Kensington Area Minor Hockey Association 2022 Under-7 Jamboree Tournament will be held at the Kensington Credit Union Center on December 27th, 2022, be hereby approved.
Thank you, Councillor McRae. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Toombs. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Let the record show that Councillor Mann and Doucette returned to the room at 7:34. Did you mark down what time they left? Okay, good, perfect. Thank you. You can leave that door open if you want. Oh, well, no, you might as well leave it closed, Councillor Doucette, because I think we've got somebody else that's going to take off here shortly. I'm being whispered in my ear. All right, thank you, councillors, and that donation request was approved. We are now moving into the request for decision for development permit application. No, wait now. Oh, that's the right one. Yep. Development permit application for K-Town Auto Parts. There's a request for decision before you. Are there any questions on this is the steps, new steps that are being replaced over at K-Town Auto Parts. Any questions, council, on the information before you? Hearing none. Who would like to read in the record the resolution? Go ahead, Councillor Toombs.
Be it resolved that Kensington Town Council approve a development permit application for K-Town Auto Parts / William Ellis for the replacement of an outdoor stair system located at 4 Commercial Street, subject to full compliance with the town's development control bylaw and all other applicable municipal, provincial, and federal legislation and regulations.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder for that resolution? Seconded by Councillor Doucette. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, council. All right, we're into other matters. No? Oh, that's right, yeah.
Clarify whether or not Councillor McRae actually has a copy of that one? Of the ball field dugout one?
She does not.
Okay.
All right. We are into the request for decision number 46, which is a ball field dugout replacement. And it was mentioned at the last council meeting, I believe, or a committee of council. It went out this afternoon, Councillor Doucette. Would have been in your email like middle of the afternoon.
I think you only had one email. Is it there now? Sorry, it wasn't there earlier when I checked.
Okay. We'll give you time to read it, Councillor Doucette. And Councillor McRae apparently too, because you don't have it either, right?
I read it at home.
Oh, you, okay.
I just don't have a copy of this. Thanks, sir.
You ready? All right, council, any questions on the information before you on the replacement of the ball field dugouts? Councillor Mann.
Oh, thank you, Your Worship. I'm just, it didn't say anything in the background or anything, but is there any payback or anything like retribution through insurance for the damage, or any cost recovery, I guess I should say?
Source of funding is property insurance proceeds, we believe. Correct, Mr. Baker?
It is.
Yeah. So we think that's going to be all covered by insurance. Councillor Glant, did you have a question as well?
Thank you, Your Worship. I have a comment on this as well. Just curious, I actually seen a new chain link dugout down in Borden. I was going by there today and last week one day, so I kind of took notice to it. They put new dugouts up there, and they had a metal roof or steel roof on them, and I like to look at them, but I'm just curious as. And Councillor Doucette, he's a ball player now. He's still playing ball, and he's involved in it quite a bit there. I'm just curious and they're not closed in, obviously. They got a roof on them, and it's still open, you know. And you've been around to a few ball fields. Do you feel that an open dugout is fine, or I'm just curious because they were always closed. I'm not sure why they were always closed in. Whether it was for wind purposes, if it was really windy, just to give the players a break when they're from the wind when they're in the dugout, or what. But just curious what your thought might be on that. And I like to look at them in Borden, but just wondering, you know, protection wise from the sun and so on and so forth.
Thank you. Councillor Doucette, do you have any comments?
Yes, thanks, Councillor Glant. Yeah, I've certainly seen a number of different styles over the years, and I think the chain links, I think they are a great idea. Like you said, though, obviously you're more susceptible, I guess, to the rain and the sun. But maybe even if we were able to kind of get some of that shade screening as we have at the tennis courts, maybe just to kind of put around just for a little more shelter for the players, might be an idea as well.
All right, thank you. We'll leave that with Mr. Baker. They might be able to do that. Any other questions, Council? Okay, Councilor Mann?
Like I say, I could just make a make a comment, I guess, as a traveling baseball parent. I have pretty well all the new dugouts we go to, they're all this construction, and mainly because, and that's why, the new bags today, they hook onto the chain link fence, so there's no, hooks required, because all the baseball bags come with hooks on them, and they're made to hook onto the chain link fence. We played at a Bedeck this summer, and their new Blue Jays field is all this construction as well. So, and Charlottetown's the same way. They're all this construction. It's just the roof keeps the sun off you. So
The wind blows through, keep the mosquitoes away. All right. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, who wants to read into the record the resolution? Okay, Councillor Toombs.
Be it resolved that Kensington Town Council authorize the CAO to proceed with a replacement of 2 ball field dugouts with a chain link fence construction, steel roof, and pressure-treated players' bench, as per the quote of Eastern Fence dated December 2nd, 2022, in the amount of $16,720 plus HST.
Thank you, Councillor Toombs. Seconder for that resolution, seconded by Councillor Glant. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. All right, that is all the new business. We'll go into other matters. I've already mentioned that the torch relay now is moved to December the 19th, same time, which is Monday coming. I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas. This is our last official meeting before the new year. But we do have a New Year's levy, which takes place from 11:30 till 1 o'clock. The awards that we hand out, Good Neighbor Award and the Christmas Decorating Awards get handed out. We start handing them out at 12:30 for the benefit of Councillor Doucette. As in our levy, we all stand up and greet the public coming in. So by all means, we should try to be there before 11:30 because some people start to arrive before 11:30. I wanted to mention as well, Carsey. I'm not sure if everybody's aware of who Carsey is. Kensington Area Refugee. What is it? I forget. Anyway, the ones that are sponsoring immigrant families. They've been trying to raise $60,000 or more. I think they've raised their $60,000. They're trying to raise more than that because they're finding that they're going to need more and more money. But I wanted to congratulate them specifically because they were just awarded $11,200 as a donation from 100 Women Who Care. There were 3 people that had applied for that, and they won the $11,200. So that boosts their contributions quite well. So congratulations to the Carsey committee. The other thing I wanted to mention is that there will be a press release from the police department going out probably tomorrow, which you'll get to see, and it has to do with it's a press release on a child porn case in Kensington, and the charges have been laid. The person is actually in jail, and there's a press release going out on that right now. So I just wanted to let you all know, so it's not a big surprise when you see it in the paper. That's all the matters that I had. Any other matters that council had? Councillor Glant?
Thank you, Your Worship. I have had another request that came up actually during the election, and I said I'd bring it to council's attention, and I think it's a good one. It's some of our new residents up on Andrews Drive, and they didn't request it. They just wanted to know if I'd bring it up at council if I was re-elected at that time, and I said I would. And it was regarding street lighting on that street. And I took a drive up a couple of times at night myself now, and I can see where they could definitely use a couple, if not three, from one end of the street to the other. And there's, as one gentleman said, he likes to go out for a walk, and this time of year, of course, it's dark early, and he goes out, and he don't like to go out onto the highway, so it gives him a chance, and it is pretty dark up there. So just wondering if that's something we could look into here in the new year, or sometime in the future, and maybe put 2 or 3 streetlights on Andrews Drive, as they are now part of Kensington, and it is a street up within the town. So.
Yeah, and we may want to, I think, one of the councillors, was the councillor Doucette? You were commenting, we were talking. I'll let you share your thoughts.
Thanks, Your Worship. Yeah, the same to Councillor Glant's words there. During the election as well, there was a number of people that did bring that up, and not just on the new parts of town, obviously, but even Garden Drive, there's quite a dark section there, right off the corner, right down to the rink pretty well, very dark, and there was some houses along there that are certainly looking for some more lighting along that sidewalk. And I mean, maybe we could even take a look around and yeah, make a map and maybe look into that project for sure to get some more lighting all around town.
All right, Mr. Baker's got that on his list, so I would assume that what you'll probably do is do some assessment, evaluation, go back to council with recommendations. That would be the plan. That okay with council? All right, any other matters, council? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to correspondence. The first item on correspondence is a request from the Kensington Bedford Hockey Exchange, and I think Municipal Clerk Caisley is going to excuse herself because she's making the request on behalf of, are you making? Oh, and our Councillor Mann is going to declare a conflict as well. Too many committees? Too many? That's what it is to have children. All right, Council, for the benefit of Councillor Doucette, back in 5 years, well, when they did the 50th year of Kensington Bedford Exchange Town Council, we normally have been meeting, I think, somewhere around $750 a year. We upped it to $1,500 for that year because they're doing something special. They've requested that we give $1,500 again this year because costs have gone up tremendously, and I think they've even mentioned in here one of the things, the cost for the bus has increased 100%. Bus transportation has gone from $6,000 to $12,000. So they're wondering if council will approve a donation of at least, well, they're saying $1,500. So I'm sure if we wanted to go higher than that, I'm sure they'd be more than pleased to take it. Any comments, council? Are we, Councillor Doucette?
Yeah, I think definitely bringing that donation up makes sense to myself. With the rising cost of everything, that only makes sense to go with that donation.
All right, are you going to make that, do you want to make that a motion then, Councillor Doucette? Sure. All right. Then Councillor Doucette has moved that we make a donation of $1,500 to the Bedford Exchange, correct? And seconded by Councillor Toombs. Any discussion, council? Hearing none, all those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, council. Councillor McCrae, would you let our Councillor Mann and Municipal Clerk back into the... For your benefit, we approved a $1,500 donation to the Bedford Exchange. The next item is a request from the Canadian Red Cross, and Walmart apparently is going to triple any donations they make up to a maximum of $150,000. Does council wish to make any donations to the Canadian Red Cross? Councillor Glant?
I think we should just receive this for information. I think a lot of people make their own donations to their various organizations, and and we'd let every individual make up their own mind on that one. That's just my opinion.
Is the rest of council okay with that? All right, receive for information. We will move on to the next one, which is the coldest night of the year. This is in Summerside, and they are requesting that the town of Kensington consider sponsoring and with an investment of $500 or becoming a lead sponsor. They'd like for us to become a lead sponsor. They'd also like for us to perhaps consider going in the coldest night of the year. I think it's a walk, is it not? I read that. I forget now all about what I read. Anyway, they're looking, does council want to consider making a donation or is putting a team in it? What's council's wish? The money goes to the Boys and Girls Club in Summerside, I believe, and Lighthouse. They offer transitional housing and emergency shelter in their community. Councillor Gland.
In my opinion, is we just received this for information as well. I think last year we got the same letter and we just received it as information at that time as well.
Any disagreement, council? We received for information? All right, moving right along. Is that the last one? Just a sec, I get to the bottom and get to that. Oh, the Meals on Wheels. This is it's a thank you, is it not? Oh no, this is a request for donation, but we make a donation of $2,000 a year to that. Used to be $1,200. We increased it a few years ago to $2,000. And that donation has already been made and already been presented to the Meals on Wheels on behalf of the town. And the next one is a request from Candace Rochford, wondering if we would consider putting street lights to light up the dog park. So it's another request, and I think you were taking a look at it some. We're not sure if we'd have to put a new pole in or whether a light can be put on one of the poles or not. But is it council is supportive of us moving forward with putting some lights over there so that can be used more in the evenings in the wintertime? Councillor Toombs.
I'll make a motion to proceed with some extra lighting over at the dog park.
All right, thank you, Councillor Toombs, seconded by Councillor McCrae. Any discussion, council? All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, council. All right, there is no committee of the whole tonight, so we are through the agenda. There being nothing else, all the best. Safe travels tomorrow if there's a snowstorm. Thank you for all those who are listening at home, and I would entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved by Councillor Toombs, seconded by Councillor Gazette. All those in favor? Excuse me. Motion carried unanimously. It is 7:53 p.m. Thank you, council.